So let's get into assignment 7, the employee database. And this is going to be a little tricky, so just take your time and remember, break it down into functions. Functions are your friend. So we're going to use nested dictionaries and custom functions to create an employee database program that allows you to add and remove employee records. So there's the two big things you're going to do that the program will do. It should include the name, salary, and position title information for each employee. So there's 3 fields of data that's going to be in your database. Okay. So instead of just like throwing you to the wolves on this one, I'm going to do a practice thing that is a practice application that is very similar to the employee database. Okay. I'm going to create a fruit stand inventory program. And then that fruit stand will keep track of the name of the fruit and the price of the fruit. I'm going to use globals, and I'm going to allow you to use globals for A7. Normally, we wouldn't want to use globals for this, but what I really want you to focus on this application is not massive user interface, not massive data checking, not really tight code. What I really want you to get is the using the functions and the database. So we're going to clear out a lot of the other complications, and we're going to go straight for the jugular here and just focus on getting that database working and using functions to do it. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. The fruit stand inventory is going to be that way too. I'm going to cut corners that just sort of give me some really bad feelings if I was going to do that in practice, but I'm going to make it very simple and very direct, aka kind of sloppy, so that we can focus on the main thing here. As we get going into some of these more advanced programs, we're going to go back to using functions the right way and not using globals. But for the sake of keeping this really simple, we're going to use globals in this case. So let's start by creating our fruit stand database. I'm not going to import anything for this project because I don't need any external modules. So I'm going to start by defining my main variable here, which is my data. And I'm going to keep it really simple. And for each fruit, I'm going to use an integer for the ID number. Now, pay close attention. This is not an index. This is a key. Even though it's an integer, it's a key. So if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and I delete number 3, it's just going to be like missing a tooth in your front of your face. It's not going to be re-indexed. I'm going to have 1, 2, 4, and 5. So that's okay, but just know the difference. Just keep it in your head. And I'm going to put a couple of sample records in my database to start. I think it's a good idea to do that. If you wanted to create this just so you have a visual model of what it is you're working with, that's fine, and you could use clear to empty it out before you start the program. In this case, we're just sort of testing ideas, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to go name, apple, and then I'm going to do price. For some reason, I always want to type Prince. I don't know why that N gets in there. I guess Freudian slip or something. I'm going to do 125. I know that's too expensive for an apple. Don't accuse me of shopping at Whole Foods or anything like that. I just wanted to have a 2 decimals and 1 before. So there's my first fruit in my database. And my second one here, I'm going to create another fruit name. Really important here that you're using a consistent key name here. If I do name and I do title, it's going to mess everything up. So you want to be real careful there. Apple. Oh, I can't do that twice. Orange. And price, not prints, is going to be 115. Not realistic prices, but we'll get over it. Okay, so there, I'm just going to leave it at 2 records. You could start off with 3 records or 1 record. It doesn't really matter. I just like 2 because then I can do all kinds of things with it without losing all my data. So there's my database. I have a key, which I'm using integers for. Now, remember, I cannot have duplicate keys. If I try and add something with the key value of 1 here, it's going to overwrite whatever's there. And I don't want that, obviously. But other than that, they're just key names. They just happen to be integers, which is not that big of a deal. So the next thing I'm going to do in my program is I'm going to define the main functions of the program. So the 2 main functions of the program is that I want to be able to add something to this that will end up in this format so that it's all consistent, nice and neat. And I also want to be able to remove things. Okay? So the first thing I want to do is define, I'm going to start with the easy one. Remove fruit. And because I'm using globals and I'm going to keep this really simple, I'm not going to use any parameters here. So I'm going to go global dfruit, which now means that external database is accessible from inside my function. Normally dangerous, but I'm going to do it. And the first thing I'd like to do is list the fruit that I have in my inventory right now before I go removing anything, because I need to ask the person, what do you want to remove? And they need to see whatever. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to call a function here that I haven't defined yet. I'll define it later. But in my mind, what I know is it's going to list all the fruit. It's going to say the ID, the name, and the price of all the fruit. I'll go back and do that later. So next is print. What would you like to remove? And str, int remove equals int input, enter the ID here. Okay, so there's that. And now all I have to do is take that fruit out. So I'm going to go dfruit.pop, and I'm going to use the user's input to pop the one with the key that matches. Now, I'm not doing any sort of input checking or verification that those actually exist. There's all kinds of errors that could be happening here. But remember, we're just keeping it simple. We're keeping our eyes focused on what it is we're going to do here, which is just managing the data. We're going to assume that you're the only user of this program and you know how to use your own program. Huh? That's a huge, you know what they say about when you assume. But in this case, it's okay. I give you a pass. All right, so now we're going to add fruit. Add fruit is a little more tricky because you have to get 3 pieces of data. You have to get, we're going to let the user input the ID number. Never do that in real life. Never do that. But in this case, yes, do that. Because it's easier than what we would have to do otherwise is create a function that goes through these and finds a unique number that's not already in here and then assign that to it, which isn't that hard, but we don't want to complicate things with, extra work. We want to just focus on managing this data. So we're going to have the user input, which is you, input the number, the name, and the price, and then we'll put them in. Yeah. We're taking that item out of the database. So after the user inputs the number that they want to remove, then we pop it and it's gone. We don't catch it anywhere, so it just goes away. If I wanted to, maybe I would give like a little message that says the fruit has been removed. Removed. There we go. Spelling is hard. All right. So, and I could do something like I could catch the thing that I popped in a variable, and then like put the apple has been removed, but that's too much work right now. Yeah.
I'm getting an error after in remove and after, well, yeah, in both in remove and defruit.pop, I'm getting an error afterward.
I will have to come look at yours, but let's carry on, and maybe it will resolve itself shortly. Okay, so let's get into adding the fruit. Okay, so we got define add fruit. Again, we're going to start off with global, so we can just do the things we want to do directly to that data. And then we are going to, let's list fruit again. Again, we'll define that later, no big deal. Print, please enter the fruit you want to add. Okay, so the first thing is going to be an ID. So we're going to go int ID equals int input is the ID. Then we're going to go str name equals, we don't need to convert that data, so we're just going to ask what's the name. And then we're going to go float price equals float input. What is the price? Okay, so we've got the 3 pieces of data. We are just flying with no seatbelts here. We're not even going to check to see what they entered because it's you. And if you don't know how to enter data into your own program, I can't help you there. Okay, so now we're going to construct this from the inside out. You could do it all in one shot, but constructing it from the inside out is actually a little bit nicer and cleaner, in my opinion. So we're going to build that first. So name and price go into a dictionary. The item equals dictionary name, and we're going to go str name, comma, price, and FL price. Okay, so we built that part of it. Now we're going to add it to dfruit using the ID as the key and this that we just built as the value. So we're going to go dfruit int ID equals the item. So that says, let's add a new item, a new member of dfruit with that as the key and that as the value. Okay, so there we go. I've got these two defined. Now all I have to do is this little baby here, list fruit, which is going to just print out the fruit the way I want to. So let's do that quick. DEF, list fruit for int key in the fruit, print int key the fruit int key name, the fruit int key price. Okay, so that's going to just print all of our stuff for us real nice. Okay. Now remember, when I want to get at the innermost fields, I have to provide the key for the main item, the record, and then the field that I'm using there. Okay. I'll post all of this code on Canvas when I'm done, so you can access it. But I'm going to keep going right now so that we can give you some time to actually work on the main assignment. So I've created my 3 functions that do stuff. And now it's just time to put together my main program. So print, welcome to the fruit stand. What would you like to do? So I'm going to go int menu equals int input 1 for add fruit, 2 for remove fruit. I'm gonna list my fruit before I ask that. Let's do it right there. List fruit. Every time I want to list my fruit, all I have to do is call that, and it does it for me now. Or remove fruit. So if int menu equals 1, I'm going to add fruit. Elif int menu equals 2, remove the fruit, else print, sorry, that's not an option. I'm going to throw this all in a loop because that seems like a fun thing to do. While true, and I can continue my inventory management here. There we go. And then print would, let's just go straight to it here. Int more equals int input. Would you like to do more? Yes or no? If int more, there we go, equals. What am I doing int here? I said yes or no. There we go. My bad. str. equals no, then we will break. Anything else, they just get more fruit. Okay, so aside from defining my functions, add fruit, remove fruit, list fruit, like this is my whole program flow. This is the whole logic. And if I wanted to, I could do things like put this whole main menu inside a function and make my main loop really short. But you always have to have that balance in mind of like, if you put everything in a big function, it's not really helpful. The idea of functions is taking specific aspects or specific things you want your program to do and putting them in their own code block as a package. Like add fruit and remove fruit, perfect for a function. List fruit, nice to have. It gives you a single command for doing that anytime you want. But putting the whole menu in a function, probably not useful. So let's run this and see how it goes. Let's run this and see how it goes. There we go. Okay, so here we go. Welcome to the fruit stand. I got my apple and I got my orange in there. Let's add a fruit to start with. Into the fruit you want to add, so I'm going to put the ID number. Again, dangerous. What's the name? Pear. And let's go 65 cents for a pear. Pear has been added. Would I like to do more? Yeah, I would. Okay, so now I have apple, orange, pear. This is not a great user interface, by the way. The least I could have done is probably put a space or something when it goes through the loop, because it's just like one huge garbage dump right now. But it's fine. We're okay. We'll survive. Let's add one more. One more fruit. ID is 4, but it could be 800 if I wanted to. What's the name? Banana. Bananas are 75 cents. Yes. Okay. So yeah, this is the danger of letting users do whatever they want. So let's remove banana because that 800 is really bugging me. So I go 2 to remove it, and I enter the ID number. The fruit has been removed. Would you like to do more? Yeah, there it is. So that is the basic functionality of the program that you're going to write for A7 is exactly the same. Instead of 2 pieces of data, the name and the price, you're going to have 3 pieces of data: name, salary, and position title. What you might want to do instead of just using integers is you could use EMP1, EMP2, just like in the sample that I showed you, for the ID number for the key, just to disambiguate what it is you're doing there. If you want a little extra challenge, I would challenge you to figure out a function that will automatically create the ID when it's called. That's a good extra challenge, and kind of a fun little exercise to go through of reading what's there and deciding how to increment that.